Hello, everyone, and welcome to Digital Thursday. My name is Sarah Roche, technology coach up in program in Dufferin PL. On the back channels today, we have the technology team that will be answering your questions, and we will be focusing on digital collaboration tools, specifically just starting with Padlet, looking into some basic collaboration features within Office 365. And that'll take a bit of time, actually. We're going to go into groups in Microsoft Word, and we're going to look at some digital citizenship resources that may be helpful for you. So I'm just going to flip screens and give you a chance to settle in, and I'll give you further instructions as we continue. All right, I'm just going to So when you came in, you were provided a document link. So in that document link, you would have found the YouTube link and also a little highlighted or underlined section that said start the conversation here. So if you want to talk to us within that document link, you click on there and someone within the team will be able to answer your questions, or if you have comments to make, you can put it within there. If you feel comfortable within social media, you can also reach us within Yammer or Twitter using the hashtag DPChats. Be sure when you are asking something to end it with hashtag DPChats. Therefore, we can find your question and find you and be able to answer back. The video will be recorded and posted. At this time, it's just posted within the DP Chats channel, actually. We're just waiting to see if we can get a spot in an office. But until then, don't worry. You can find a link and come and find us and rewatch this. So don't worry about taking notes. Just learn along the way and ask questions. One of the good things I just want to make note, if you're new to using the computer and being able to collaborate, when you are working online, let me pull this up for you. Oops. You can pull the tabs, have two different tabs open, right? So you can either flip this way or that way, or you can minimize it and have two different windows. So see how I just pulled it over? So if I want to watch the video here and pull this over and have the discussion over here, I can do that. So if you want to take a minute and just set up how you want to watch the video and how you want to collaborate, I'll give you a little bit of time to do that. So as we know, students of the digital age are social by nature. Learning is social to them, and this is the way that they learn, not only through texting and posting, but they update and share. They chat with one another and they co-create in virtual environments. Connection and collaboration with others is essential to student learning. We know now that communication is multifaceted, and we understand that there are many levels of interaction. It is more than just being able to use the digital media effectively. It's about making the personal connections and what that brings to the table when learning.
Do you recognize me? Very soon I will be your student. But I will not always sit in your classroom. I will not take out a pencil or open a textbook. You grew up with books. I read from a laptop, an iPad, a smartphone. I use a keyboard more than a pen. I'm a digital native, an active learner. Why carry just a textbook when my iPad connects me to the world? I want to know things all the time, and right away. Maybe the best price for cool shoes, or where to hike the Himalayas. To learn, I look online, because the classroom isn't enough for me. Not when I can see faces, hear voices, and chat with people on the other side of the world. I want to learn about Chinese history from someone in Beijing. My school has to keep up with me, not the other way around. I have more and more choices. When you were my age, no one had heard of a charter school. No one could imagine a virtual school. But it's projected that by 2019, half of all high school courses will take place online. I use mobile devices to connect with friends, classmates, and teachers. And when I'm more connected, I'm more interested. I don't buy music at a store or movies or books. I get them instantly online. And when they excite me, I share with friends. That's how I want my education to be. I need a degree even more than my parents. I know it, and so do my friends. But will I be prepared? Public grade schools are under huge budget pressures, and traditional college is increasingly unaffordable. I don't want crushing debt. If I can Google the best choice for cool shoes, rest assured I'll find the best choice of education, like 2-year institutions and online courses where students like me have grown to be 6 million strong. And when I'm older, I want to keep learning. Do you recognize me? Very soon, I will be changing the world. But I need you. If you're ready to help me, I'll find you. But it's your challenge to keep up with me. I'm a digital native, an active learner. Listen to me. Help me. Together, we can create the future.
As Catholic learners, we remind our students of responsible communication. It is definitely a key skill to be able to collaborate and communicate with one another. But what does that look like? And what students, would they need to learn how to be responsible within this within this atmosphere and put forth the best representation of who they are as individuals in every relationship. Whether they're talking face-to-face, blogging, texting, or creating a visual product, their values and beliefs are defined by how well they communicate with others. The idea of digital collaboration is not one that we are unfamiliar to. We have used collaboration skills already for many years in face-to-face and group work within the classroom itself. But now we're moving and we're starting to use different tools in order to collaborate. The reason that we go digital is because we are enhancing the students' collaboration in some way. We're doing something that they can't do when just talking face-to-face. The great thing about digital collaboration is that it provides the opportunity for students to use multimedia. So within these things, they're able to embed pictures, videos, hyperlinks to other places, audio recordings of their voice. So there's multiple ways of them to be able to collaborate and share and build together. One of the first tools that we're going to take a look at is Padlet. And I think if you're just beginning to collaborate within the classroom online, this is a really great place to start. So Padlet is a virtual wall that allows people to express their thoughts on a common topic, and it works like an online sheet of paper, except the students now can post images or videos or documents and text anywhere on the page. They can do it together, or they can do it either on their own, separately, adding in their own ideas. But what's great about it is that they can do it from any device. So if they have their own devices, this is something that is on the web. I'm going to pull out and I'm going to show you. I'm going to open this back up. I had closed it earlier on you. So you can see here what it may look like. So this is my Padlet wall. And I just went into Padlet.com and started an account. And I started a new Padlet. So you can create a new Padlet or modify your Padlet. And I'll go into that in a minute. But what you can see here is that the students can post their information up. They can add a picture to it, and they can really just give an understanding of whatever it may be. If they're working on a Minds-On, or they're trying to figure out some sort of brain teaser, whatever it may be that they're coming in and they're adding to. Another good thing is that they can come in and they can add to this throughout it. And if they have the link and you keep it open, they can add to it in class as well as when they leave class. If they have another thought and they want to put it in, they can add that in. The only thing here is that if it is created by the teacher and the student doesn't have an account, then they would have to either write their name or initials, their first name or initials, so that you would know who is putting up the post. So it's like little sticky notes on here. However, if it doesn't matter to you and just the ideas are what is relevant, then they don't need to put their names up. So it's all in the purpose that you're doing it. So I can create a new Padlet, and I'm just going to go into modifying this. So just say that you've created it, you get a blank screen. The one thing about it here is that you see that you can add a title. So you can see my title over here, and you can see as well that I can add a little description or subtitle of what it is that we're doing within here, and then a little icon. So I know up at the top, I can design that so whether it just be a student question or it leads them into the task that they're about to do. So you make sure to provide the instructions for them. The layout is another different thing. So here you can see that freeform. Freeform means that if I'm putting them into categories and I want to move them around as the teacher, I can. The student, however, can only move their answer around. The teacher would then have to have the rights to move all of them, but the students couldn't go and move other students' information to other places. Now, if you don't want freeform, you could do one simple stream. So there could be one after another, and you could just go through the information, sort of like you'd see in a blog. Or you could have grid, so it just organizes it, right? You're not able to move it around, but it just organizes the information into grids. For here, you can choose to make it totally public. You can password protect it. You can make it private. Usually I just do a hidden link and give them the link as long as they know it. I'm going to go into the basic info here. So that gives you an idea of how easy it is to just kind of start creating. And when the students do come in, all they have to do is double tap. So I double tapped on the virtual wall, and then I was able to write. Right? And then I can choose to then, so I can't right now because I'm on my web, but it gives you that idea that you can just simply go in and add the photo to it. So it's a great place to start. So if you're not really comfortable and you just want to start with one small tool, this is a really great tool to go into and begin with.
Last year we did something called Finding the Moon Project, and we had to observe the moon for 3 months, I believe. And when we did so, we had to collaborate via internet sources and using books and packets, and we had to communicate with people in Korea, in Africa, in all these different places around the world. And we actually got to compare results on where our moon was and where their moon was when we experienced it. So that was a really exciting thing to actually use my technology to communicate with other people across the globe. You can do anything you really need with technology, and using it in the classroom just creates a better educational environment, and it creates a better working environment for teachers as well, because the students can collaborate with people around the world. They can look for things around the world. And the internet is really just a huge source that students can use.
So I think that's great when they say that, you know, being able to collaborate within that spot in the internet, they can go in and have access to resources right in the moment of learning and really enhance and embed what they're doing. So one of the resources we have right now that students have and teachers have is Office 365. So within this, they're able to create and design their work, but they're also now able to share their work and collaborate with other peers and with teachers. So we're going to examine what a few of these look like. But the great thing about it is I know that a lot of people start with this idea of Word. If students are working within a project, they can then go in and begin organizing in here. And I'm going to show you what that looks like. So we're going to focus specifically on Word, on sharing files, and just being able to collaborate either within the class in that time and being able to use the resources that technology allows for, or beginning it in class and then having the opportunity to leave class and continue their work together as a group. So one of the great things is being able to design the group. And you can create a regular distribution list where you send emails out to specific classes or specific groups. If you have groups that are certain levels that you have to send off to, you can even break your class down. New members can join and read past conversations and files, and groups can be made public or private. So if I go into Office 365 for you, if you don't know how to get into it, it's DP Cloud when you're on the server at school. If you're at home, it's dpcloud.dpcdsb.org. There we go. And usually it's signed in because I am, this is my computer, so it automatically signs in for me, but it'll just ask you for a sign in. It's the same as your email. So we see this little people icon, and this app is where we can design groups. So you can see here that I have my groups on the side, and that if I choose to create a new group, I would go into this little plus sign here, the addition sign. I'm going to go into what a group looks like first before I do that. So when you first come into your group, you can see all of the members that are in and all of them that have been added. You can choose to add new members, so you don't have to worry if you don't add everybody at the time, or if new people come into your class, you can continue to add, or if people leave, you can also go to these three little dots here, which means more options, and you can choose to remove them from the group. If you want them to be able to really design within it, and depending what the purpose is, if you're working within departments, you might make the people owners so that they can go in, change things, add to the calendar, and have conversations. So it all depends on the permissions that you want to give the person that's in there. When you do create this group, after you add the members, there's a few things up here that are really great to have. One of the things is conversations. If you're thinking of group projects or just within your own class and when the students are working on things together or tasks, they have questions, they can use this little, it's like a news board, to go in and ask each other questions and use the class as a knowledge of wealth within here. You can also use the calendar in here, which offers, you can have them organize their dates when things are due, when they're going to be working together next. So it really has that organization piece behind it. You can add in files, and it comes in as a different tab when you open it up. So here you can add in the files of whatever it may be, content needed for their class knowledge, maybe things that the students are sharing based on the research or inquiries that they're investigating. So it all depends on your course and what the purpose is for designing a group. The other thing that they can also go into is a class notebook. And this is something that has a lot of different functions in it. And if we have time, we'll go into that in a little bit. But basically, it's a personal live binder for the teacher and the students. And it can be connected to this little group area. So just being able to have this area itself is a great place to start with collaboration. So if you have something set up, they can come in and they have that one stop where they can have files, they can have conversations, they can organize their planning through the calendar. So there's a lot of great things here. The other good thing about designing a group is when you want to send out a mass email or a shared folder, you send it out to the group instead of having to write in each student or teacher individually. When you do want to create a group, you go into this little plus sign here. And it's quite simple. You see here that it leads you along. So you're able to write in the name. You see whether it's available. And then you can write a description. And you can choose here whether you want it to be public or private. So we see that with public, anyone can see it. So it will be for everyone that's within Office 365 and Dufferin Peel, or private only for the members that are within your class. Once you do that, so I'm going to choose and make it private here. And I'm going to go into create. And I can add members. So the only thing about this part is that you do have to add members individually. Once you have the group, you can send any folders or emails out to the group, but you must create this group first. So it's always a great place to start is creating the groups. So I have my teaching partner, Heather Hakey. She comes up quite fast because I've typed in her name before, but I'll put her there. And I'm going to go here. Sometimes it's good to go through the last names. I find that it comes up, and what it does is it searches for it, and then it gives you everyone that has that. So if it is a name that is quite common, sometimes it's best to either have their employee number or to have their student number, and then you don't have to worry about finding which one is which. You add them in. And you can see that the news board is here, the calendar, the files, the notebook, and it's all for your design. And I can see that it's a private group, and then you would send it out automatically. This would be emailed to the two that I shared it with. So I would know that they received an email in order to find their way over here. So I can look at my members, and then it tells you who's in there. So it's quite simple in order to organize something like that. When I go back up into here, I'm going to show you Word. So I have Word Online, and you know that students often are creating documents and projects and thinking together. I'm just going to open one up and show you what that looks like. So this is a team building one, so something between teacher to teacher, but obviously we know that this is very transferable to the classroom itself. So I can see in here that I have a little setup already going on, and there's some questions that the group needs to answer and work through. One of the great things about it is that I haven't actually opened up the editing. So it says edit document. I can choose to edit it in Word or online. But if I'm just looking at the collaborative planning, I can go in and I can make comments right away. I don't have to open it up. I can make comments and send them to the people that I'm working with. So if I just want to give feedback, just say a student hands an assignment, shares an assignment with you. You can just open it up, and without going to actual editing, you could just make comments on the different parts and provide the feedback within their work. So it's a great way to collaborate teacher to student as well. This is also possible within the PowerPoints and even within the Excel surveys. So anywhere you go within Office 365, you're able to make these little comment pieces here, right? And you see that every time I move, that it goes to where I'm asking the question for. And that everyone that this is shared with will then have the ability to come and do the same. So if I do want to share a document like this and I have it open, let's just say I have it open online. And I choose to share a document like this, I would go into this little share button. And then I would choose to invite the people. I can choose to invite them to edit or just view it. If I just want the feedback, I don't want them to go in and change my document, I'm just going to ask them to view it. If I'm collaborating and we're building something together, I'm going to ask them to edit it. So I add in, like I said, I can add in the group here. And I see that it comes up. So I can send it right to that group. Now you notice I don't have to write in each of those the other teachers' names. I don't have to write them in or the students. I can just send it off. The other way, now it says require sign-in, but if they are within the board and you're working with people in Dufferin Peel, I would just kind of take that off because they're already signing in to find their way in regardless. Another way is getting a link. So if your students at the time aren't really within Office 365 and they're still new to online collaboration, you might then copy this little this link here. So you might copy it and then give them the link and require no sign in. So they can go in and they can edit. This way, they don't have to worry about finding their way around Office 365. It'll take them right to the Word document right within Office 365. So it's kind of one less step, just depending on what level your students are at and how well they know Office 365. Another good thing is setting an expiration. Just say they're working on an assignment in class, or you have maybe it's like a test or a quiz that they're going into and you're sharing with them. You can customize how long you want it to be or how long you want the project to be open for. Therefore, you know after a certain amount of time, their time's up and the link will expire and they can no longer go into there. So we're just going to examine slightly the idea of class notebook. I'm going to go into how to create it. I know in my last session, the advanced session, we went into a little bit about what each one looks like. But I think if you're new to this and you're just beginning to understand how to design something, you're going to want to see where to start from. So we're going to start from there. After signing into DP Cloud, you're going to come up to the Office 365 home screen. Click on the waffle, and you're going to see a list of apps. Click on Class Notebook. This is where it'll allow you to create the class notebook. So here you're coming up with a few different options. The first one, obviously, here is to create a class notebook. These options here, you can see that afterwards, when it is created, you can add or remove students, add or remove teachers, and just get notebook links that has been created. So there is different steps that you would come in here for, but the first step is to create a class notebook. So click or tap into here. The first step is it's going to ask you to give the notebook a name. So focus on whatever subject or whether or not it's a class. It depends on what level you're teaching. So here I'm going to focus on a subject, and I'm going to click or tap the next button. Here you're going to see that the OneNote classroom creates a notebook with 3 sections, each with its own unique permissions. So the collaboration space allows both teacher and students to edit content. This is great for shared groups or classroom projects. In the content library, it allows teachers to edit content, but students can only view or copy the content. This area can be used for distributing tests, assignments, or other course material. In the student notebooks, they provide a private space for each student to work. Teachers can view and edit each student's notebook, but students can only view their own. In this space here, it's giving you the option to allow another teacher to collaborate on the notebook with you and the students. So you can explore this option if you have department that's working together and you're building the content together, or a teaching partner. So this is something that you can add now or go and add after the fact, after the notebook is designed. The next step is entering the names of your student. Each student will be assigned his or her own notebook. So in here, you have a few options. One option is typing in each student's name individually. So I'm going to type in a last name. And here I'm going to choose each student individually. If you already have a group created, you can also send it to a group of students. So if you already have something that's designed within the People app on Office 365, you'll have all your students in here, and all you would have to do is type in the group's name, and then it would be sent to all the students within that group. Sometimes when you are putting each student in individually, there may be more than one student that has that name. So it's a good idea to either input their numbers instead of just their first and last name, or to have their numbers handy when it does come to a circumstance in which more than one student with that name comes up and you're not sure which one to use. So you can, in fact, here write in the students or write in the student numbers or already have the group designed. Click or tap next when you're ready to move on past that. So student notebooks contain a few sections by default. You can add more, change the existing ones, or continue to accept the pre-designed suggestions. So here they're saying in the student notebook, the tabs will be handouts, class notes, homework, quizzes. You can go in here and add as many sections as you want. And if you don't want one of these, you just unclick it. Oops. And there we go. And these are the tabs that will be in the student notebook. When you're done setting that up and choosing how you want it designed, you click or tap the next. OneNote begins to configure the teacher and student notebook here. So here you see an idea of what the teacher notebook looks like, what it will be set up. So who will be inside there. And if I click on the student notebook view, I'll be able to see this student here. So I can see that it's picking up on the people that were in my learning group. It's picking up on Heather Hickey here, and it's showing all of the sections that will be. So this is what they're going to see when they come in. They're going to see these spaces and all of their sections right there. When you're done that, you can begin configuring by pressing Create, and it's going to show you a link as soon as it's configured here. So just giving it a second here. It seems to be taking. There we go. So this link up here can be provided to your students. So the link will appear. You send the link to your students. This is how they will access the notebook. They can also open the notebook directly from here. You can go right into it and check it out. So you can copy this if they're really not in the Office 365 environment. If they are in the Office 365 environment, they will get an email in their mail Outlook here. So it'll say that a document was shared with them. So they can go here and they'll automatically be notified when class notebooks are shared with them. And they can also go to their OneDrive and go into the tab here that says Shared with Me. Here students will find any OneNote class notebooks assigned to them. So they can go in, and I see right here, this was just designed, and they can also find it there. Okay, so hopefully that was helpful when you're looking at the idea of using a few. I think we kind of touched on the idea of what happens within Office 365 and then a web-based tool with Padlet, like a virtual whiteboard. One of the main things that we need to start considering as we have students communicating and collaborating online is thinking of who they are as a digital citizen. Now, the idea itself is not very new. They know how to be citizens. It's just sometimes they get confused of what that looks like online. Often we talk about the idea of protecting our passwords and making sure that we don't bully others, but we forget a lot of aspects that have to do with digital citizenship itself. So I think that we need to touch upon that idea of communication is not just not bullying others or being nice online. It's the idea of building a digital footprint. So you are now building who you are online. You are building a sense of what you want the world to know. Whatever you post stays out there. It stays on a server, and whether you think that you delete it or not, it's still out there. So I think students need to understand that now as they even work up to that grade 12, When they go to apply for a job, their employer now is going to Google their name. They're going to want to know who they are, and they're going to find out by looking online. And if they don't find anything, they're probably going to wonder, why aren't they online and why don't they have an online presence at this day and age with all the digital tools that we have available to us and that they will need as a skill set within their career? Protection is definitely that idea of being able to watch out for people that we should not be talking to or people that are trying to steal our information. But I think it's also that idea of health. Balancing our lives is so important. How do we teach our students to balance their devices and their real life? How do we tell them to get off that device and start doing something else, or how to use the device appropriately? Creation and credit, there's so much information out there. We need to teach them how to credit what they see, how to then go in and also understand that when they're creating and posting, they have the ability to now copyright their own information so that people need to credit what they're doing and their knowledge and how they're sharing. Finally, it's the idea of critical thinking, and I think it ties into each one of these spots, but really evaluating and understanding what you're doing, what you're seeing, where to go. Once they open up that web and once they're on there together, there's so many different venues and so many different resources and things that they use to enhance and embed that they have to understand how to use it and understand where to find proper information. One great site is OSAPAC, as you can see. It's in here, and if you go into the projects, you'll find digital citizenship, which is this little page right here. I'm going to come out actually, and I'm just going to quickly go into that for you. Oop, wrong one. And just so you can see, it has some resources that are really great to start with. You just type in OSAPAC. And you'll see that it comes up with the page. And if you go to projects, you'll see digital citizenship. Another great one here is the SAMR framework, which is a really great place to start if you're trying to understand how to use technology, what that looks like. Kind of gives you some descriptions of what that may be. So if you're new to technology and integrating it into the learning, take a step over here and have a read and take a look at what others are talking about. If you go into the digital citizenship resource, you'll see what I just showed you online. And one of the great things, let's say they double click into critical thinking. You can see that it separates into different levels and divisions. If I went into intermediate or secondary, let's say we focus on secondary, I can go into resources, and there are websites and things that have been vetted by the ministry. So you can go in, take a look, see what they're talking about, seeing what videos might be useful within your own classes, as well as some of these connections here, critical thinking and information literacy. So it gives you ideas of where it might tie into the courses. So you can see it gives you the course code and what that may be. And those teachers, if there's classroom connections here, go in, try to use it. Really, digital citizenship should be embedded within every course, whether it be secondary or within the elementary classes. The students need to start thinking this way, and it should become natural for them to understand what it means to be a digital citizen. So we just talked about the idea of considerations. So digital citizenship, huge. Also understanding that we're redefining the workspace. We're not only giving them that face-to-face, but we're now we're opening the world up and what that looks like and how we add to it. And realize that you don't have to know everything, that your students will know a lot, and that it's okay to learn together. It's okay not to know everything. Whenever you are collaborating, one of the most important points I have to stress is having a purpose. Have a purpose for why they're on there and what they're doing, whether it be knowledge sharing, peer feedback, reflective practice, goal setting, or just questions and wonderings like the Padlet. They could be in there just asking questions as the lesson is going on, and the Padlet could be in the background, just having a way that they could collaborate their thinking throughout and making them actively involved in owning their learning. Just gonna come back to you. There we go. So hopefully you were able to find some of these tools useful. And remember that the videos are stored. So even if you didn't take everything in at this point, you just go back to the DP Chats channel and you're able to review, slow it down, pause it, just take your time through it. We try to give you a little bit so that you can, depending on what you're interested in, you can go in from different angles. But I think the point is that students now, their skills are changing and they're moving into a whole new world. So how do we prepare them for what the world looks like when they leave high school and move into their career paths or into post-secondary? What might that look like now? Thank you so much for joining us. And if I could ask you for a favor, the place where you found the YouTube link, at the bottom, there's an exit survey. So there's a little link underneath the chart. Only a few questions. We'd really appreciate if you can go in and just answer and let us know how the session went today. If there's anything that you're looking for in the future with Digital Thursdays and anything that you either found challenged or went well for you. So just give us a little bit of information so we can really design these for you as the Thursdays continue to go on. Thank you so much for taking the time and coming to join us today. And hopefully we'll see you next month. And remember, on Tuesdays, we have little 20-minute sessions. So each Tuesday we take a little tidbit from our Digital Thursdays and kind of teach it in more detail for 20 minutes. Secondary is on the hour, all throughout the day from 9 to 4. So please feel free and come join us then too. We'd really love to see you. Enjoy the rest of your day.